Alright guys, so I wanted to jump on real quick and do a little follow-up to my Chinese skid steer here behind me. A lot of guys appreciated the honest opinion or review that I gave when I bought it. Had briefly used it in the yard. I understand this is for a small, well, it's for several small projects here at my house. Not commercial by any stretch of the imagination. Probably see out the door here. Let me see if I can. Yeah, we'll go for a little walk. Just got some little stuff around. Had a little pool installed. They have a very small backyard, so there's not a lot of room here. But to dig up the stone that was all here, pile it, to run back here, put all my stone down. That's 20 feet on the building. Knock all the dirt down around here. There's a deck going to be built. This area all in here will be all concrete, and there's a pavilion going up. So we have a little outdoor kitchen area, little outdoor eatery. There's all the inserts concreted in the ground for the deck. We're putting a little tiny deck up. But just to kind of reiterate where we're at with this thing, it's I mean, I just don't know how to say it any other way. It's so worth the money. I mean, it's unbelievable. To do all the work that we've done out there, if I had to do that with a shovel, I'm telling you right now, I'd be in the hospital. I'm not in the greatest shape at 57 years old. I'm a big dude still. I can still get out, ride my dirt bike from time to time. I do things maybe some 57-year-olds can't do. And there's probably a lot of things that I can't do that other 57-year-olds can. But as far as in this Florida heat and humidity, to shovel and rake and move, I don't know, I've probably moved 20 yards of dirt, 25 yards of dirt, probably a load and a half, dump truck load and a half. We run triaxle dump trucks for the company I work for that carry 18 yards. So you know what, it's probably actually 2 dump trucks worth of material I've dug and moved and moved and dug and repacked and regraded and all that, and this thing's done it all. Probably have, it's really funny, the hour meter says it has 55 hours on it. It doesn't, I don't understand that. It's more like 5.5 hours I have now, maybe 6 on it. But I'll tell you, the thing is freaking worth it, man. Oh my God, absolutely worth it. In the previous video, I showed where I had to rewire the fan. So this fan right here, the way it comes from the factory, it's blowing into the engine compartment. The engine is blowing air into the engine compartment, and it's just getting right here and getting stagnant, and it was getting so hot that this plate right here, where your belly rubs against it, you know, if your shirt comes up or something like that, I was actually getting blisters in my abdomen from leaning against this. That's how hot the metal was getting. Once I rewired this right here, I know it's wire nuts, and I'm not done. Eventually it will be shrink sleeved and soldered together. But once we reverse that rotation of this fan by rewiring it opposite of how they had it, and it draws all that heat out through the cooler and then out the hood, I mean, it's changed the whole way this thing functions. The temperature gauge has an oil temperature gauge that before was getting scary. It was getting scary hot. Now it stays 200 degrees or less, and the thing works fantastic. Fantastic. It has some shortcomings, no question. It's Chinese. You need to go to Harbor Freight, and you need to buy one of these. Let's see, I bought 2 of them because I didn't know if it was metric or standard. I know it's Chinese, but hell, you just never know. The thing comes with plugs instead of grease fittings. there's plugs where grease fittings should be. There's only 4 total grease fittings on the machine. I believe it was 4. So you spend the 8 or 10 bucks, get this little metric 32-piece grease fitting assortment, and install them on every area. Like for example, this ram right here, that had a plug in it, believe it or not. That thing had a plug in it. Down here had a plug in it. This one up under here, hopefully this camera doesn't screw up too bad. That one I had to put a grease fitting in. This one here we had to put a grease fitting on. It had this grease fitting here on the upper boom, and it had the lower ones on the lower pin. Other than that, there was no other grease fittings on the machine. So definitely had to buy grease fittings. But I'll tell you something. I paid $5 grand for this thing. Well, $5,200. We paid $5,200 for it, delivered to the house from a super nice guy and his brother that I bought it from. Worth every penny of it. Previous video I said the sticks are kind of screwed up. If you're used to running a real machine, a high-end machine, a cat, a deer, Takahouchi, Itch a Pussy, whatever brand it is, this is a little bit different. It's also a single stage pump, not a dual stage pump, not a multiple stage pump. So when you're tracking forward or tracking backwards and you raise or lower the boom, or you raise or lower the bucket, you curl or uncurl the bucket, it does slow one track or the other down. So that's a little bit of a challenge. So it's more of a move, adjust the bucket, move, adjust the bucket, move, adjust the bucket, and you can get it to grade. You know, it's not perfect, and it's not something you want to do on a half-mile long project, but in a little small yard like this, it's absolutely worth it. I track over here to the shop, grab the bags of concrete for the sonotubes, for the mounts for the 4x4s for the deck that's going up. It carries, you know, 5 or 6 bags of, you know, 80-pound bags of concrete like it's nothing. You can get a full bucket, I mean a full heaping bucket of that 1 to 2 inch pipe bedding we have out here. It lifts it and spreads it, no problem. As you can see, we have junk everywhere. We've been moving some stuff around. I use it to carry everything. I don't carry a damn thing anymore. Put it in the bucket, let it do its thing. It's been fantastic, really. It really has. I'm sure there are guys out there that will run it beyond its paces, will run it beyond what it's capable of, and complain about it, because that's what everybody seems to do. But for small jobs, something narrow, and that's why I needed this little one. I only have a little bit of room in between different things around here, so I had to be really careful with how wide of a bucket I got, which, by the way, let's measure that, because honestly, I don't remember. So let's check it. So this bucket is 38 inches. 38 inches wide. And I have spots to try to wiggle this thing through that are 48 inches. You know, it's 4 foot. So all in all, absolutely worth it. AGT YSRT14. It's got, I don't have the key out here with me. It's got 6 hours on it now. A little under 6 hours. But this, like the oil temperature here, this thing was up in the, straight up and down in the 230s before. Now it barely gets to that first white line, which if that's 120 and that's 210, so that's probably in the 180 range. Stays right there. Manual fan. That's the fan up there that we reset. 15 horse, 420cc motor. Runs a little lean, I will tell you that. Not sure if it's a jetting issue because of where it was made versus where we're running it. Could be a jetting issue. Not sure if that's something that I'm even going to mess with. But she is definitely a little lean on startup, especially after sitting hot. And you go to fire it back up. You got to use the choke to get it to run. Once it's running, it's fine. But definitely lean off of the bottom. But great little machine. I recommend it to anybody. You don't need to be an operator. You don't need to be a heavy equipment mechanic. This thing is pretty straightforward. I think all in all, it's a pretty good little machine. I'm sure it's going to have some shortcomings. I'm sure it's going to have some problems. But if you're old like me and you just don't want to mess around shoveling anymore in this 100-degree heat with 150% humidity, you know, you don't want to move all this stone because that's all coming out. This is all going to be concrete from the end of the building there over to that corner of the house right there, all the way down to the corner of the building right here. This is all going to be concrete, and then there's going to be a pavilion put up here. But even putting up the pavilion, I will use that machine to lift the lumber and lift the trusses and all that stuff. But once we get it all done, get it all cleaned, this will be just our little place to be able to hang out, have staycations, and enjoy our little home, as long as we don't get another hurricane that comes through, which we were very fortunate. I don't even want to talk about it. I saw some things yesterday. I went out on the Harley for the first time in a while, and I went over to some of the area in Hernando County that was struck pretty hard with storm surge, and I've never seen anything like that in my life. I know that's getting off on a whole nother topic, but you're riding down a road you've ridden down 1,000 times in your life, maybe more, because that's my go-to area when I go to ride, and you see a 40-foot boat and it's 150 yards into the woods, and it's supposed to be a mile the opposite direction at the marina. It changes how you look at things. It changes how you look at water. But yeah, so that was my little experience yesterday. But had to get out, get some fresh air after working around here. But I'm telling you guys, if you have the means and you have enough work around your yard to justify it, don't hesitate. They're simple. If you have some basics on mechanics, basic knowledge, they're easy to maintain. Now granted, she might blow a hydraulic hose like anything else. She may have a problem, but right now with 6 or so hours on it, man, it's been awesome. Best investment from a non-fun standpoint, best investment I've ever made. So there you have it. That's just me, little old chubby guy, 57 years old in West Central Florida, giving you my honest opinion of it. So enjoy, have fun, get yourself one of these and let me know. Tag me in one of your posts, send me one of your videos, let me see how it works out for you. But don't be afraid to buy one. Peace.